Here's the scenario. You and your team feel like you're doing great work, but then the client still seems uneasy.
See, that's when you find out that it's not the work that's the problem, it's the silence in between.
Exactly. So how often should you actually update your client?
And let's talk about that. Well, hello, podcast world. Welcome back to BizNest. My name is Francis.
And my name is Penny. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Our topic for today, it feels like it doesn't only apply to work, it also applies to a lot of things. Um, I remember when you're told, "Oh, you're just worried over nothing." Like it's really that. Like I feel like the mind is amazing when it comes to making up worst case
Oh,
scenarios.
yeah,
Yeah, like
absolutely.
like say for example, if you told your friends yesterday, "I'll see you at 12 tomorrow," and everybody goes, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." Like I feel like in my case, I said yes, I will go. I do not need to say good morning. I'm on my way, getting
Mhm.
dressed. Like, you don't need to hear
Like
my
it's already
updates.
understood. That's what you
It's
think. Yeah.
understood, right?
Mm.
Because I grew up in a time when cell phones weren't the thing. So if you said I'm gonna be there tomorrow at noon, you'll
Yeah.
be there at noon,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
At the exact
Otherwise,
place
it
that you
costs to
talked
update
about last night on the phone, like the
on the
actual
phone.
phone.
Yes. Yeah, and where in some cases, um, sending updates cost
Mm.
money because you have to go to a pay phone, right? But there was just one time I think that one of my friends had a meltdown
Mm.
because I wasn't updating. Like hello, 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 and it just turned out that when you're starting to walk, you put it on your phone. There are times when you
Mm-hmm.
don't actually look at your phone. It's like, hello, hello, are you still coming? Blah blah. What happened to you? Are you okay? And when I got there, it's like, oh my god, why not update you? Why? What do I need to update you about? Like, I feel like unless it's an emergency, the understanding is I'm already here. Then you find out you know, I want to fight about my values, but I feel like there's a point
Your
to,
values. How
to
your values
yeah,
how loaded.
yeah. I mean, especially now that things are, especially now at a time when communication is rapid
Mm-hmm.
and instantaneous. Like you order the cake for next week, right? Like if you don't
Mm-hmm.
hear any updates, you get anxious about,
Yeah.
especially if it takes time to order stuff like that, right?
Yes. Yes. Sometimes you actually have like nowadays, especially because it's so easy now to message people, you do have to kind of get several confirmations that hey, are
Mm.
you coming? Hey, you're the one who's gonna buy the cake, right? Like
Yeah,
yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I just can't get
as
over the
as is
fact of
evidenced. Yeah, as is evidenced by a lot of times you've already talked about it several
Mhm.
times, and they still manage to mess it up. I think that's the other course, the other the other side of instantaneous messaging. Also, the like, remember when I said before, when you committed
Mhm.
to something, you've committed to something come hell or high water.
Mhm.
There's like
Mhm.
where most great comedies lie. But now with the advent of, because it's so easy to update people, you can easily just say, "Oops, something came up. I have to cancel." And you're
Yeah.
not necessarily in the wrong because you told them well in advance, or like within the window of telling people I can't make it.
Mhm.
So and it happens to other things as well, suppliers, blah blah. Anyway, circling it back,
Circling
our
it back.
topic today.
No, circling it
Circling back.
back to clients, right? To updating clients. It's actually your example and how it actually happens in real life. Like as if working isn't real life, right? But how it
Yeah.
happens in life is actually yes, it is almost the same as that. There are going to be those moments where there has to be some sort of agreement on what type of updates and the timing of updates need to be. But I think the only
Yeah.
thing that's different here is that as the person that the client hired or the client is working with, you are kind
There's an
of obligated.
obligation to.
Yes, obligation. Like you're accountable to actually give them. updates.
Yeah.
I
I mean, at
remember
some
like,
point, it's part of the services that you
yes,
offered, right? Like when you're trying to, we'll keep you updated, we'll give
mhm,
you daily, weekly, quarterly, monthly, quarterly updates if
yeah,
necessary, especially if it's a project with time sensitive
yes,
deadlines, for
yes, time
example.
sensitive, or not even time, like also like the priority is quite high. It's not time
Mm-hmm.
sensitive, but the priority is
Mm.
high, or the impact for the business is also high.
Yeah.
Especially those. I remember, so you know that I always tell this to our ops team, right? Like the last thing I want to happen is the client asking for updates. Like we need to be the ones giving them updates without them
Yeah.
having
To
to
follow
ask
up.
for, yeah, to follow up. And um because in our scenario, in how we're doing business, our clients are not really local,
They're not.
or they're not local. Most of our team are also remote. Most of them are also remote, so it's not like it's so easy to give an update, and it's not like you can also see, or our clients can like physically see our people working. And so updates are really important between,
Yes.
in terms of our partnership with our clients.
Going back to what I said
Mm-hmm.
prior, that we have an amazing capacity to make up worst case scenarios,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time we have an amazing capacity to be mollified, to be assured with the right words, with the
Mm-hmm.
right, even though everything looks like a cluster. You could show them something that looks like a mess, like, I know it
Mm-hmm.
looks like a mess now, but it will look amazing in 2 days.
Yeah,
Right.
sorry. The image that
you know
came out of my mind.
you're
You
when
know, like Princess Diaries, the one with like
Jenna,
the
Julia,
bad yeah. It's gonna be great
the makeovers,
afterwards.
the
Yeah,
makeover scene. Yeah.
yeah.
I took you from this and I
And
give
the
you a princess.
yeah, but yeah, something similar to that. I don't know
Yeah.
why that kind of popped in my head, but yeah, exactly
I
like that.
Well, I have an idea why, but anyway, I know what you mean. Like, probably, maybe when it's something that you don't know. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I remember when we talked about your groundbreaking, when you went from shovel to ground and said, "Oh, it'll be finished in 4 months." Like, how
Mm-hmm.
does that come up in 4 months? Or, like, and it's just 7 days from completion. You look at it, it doesn't look like it'll be completed in 7 days, but the contractor would go, "Don't worry, it'll be finished in 7 days." Again, if the timeline is sensitive, for example, like if you ordered a dress to be made and it's and it'll be finished in time for your event,
Mm-hmm.
and I have seen that happen. Like, the dress wasn't completed on time. Like, that the
Mm-hmm.
tension, the tension, the anxiety that builds up is probably
Yeah.
the same thing. Like, from a client perspective, if the deliverable happened to, if it's gonna cost the business money, for example, if it's as the person who hired you, means that his reputation will suffer if you didn't manage to complete the project on time. The
True.
so you know, the sooner that it doesn't look like things are going according to plan, you the more you start to think of the most weird scenarios, if that makes sense. Like, we're still not completed, I need updates. You know how they go. Okay, if it's a 3 month project, for example, okay, we'll go from weekly updates, but by the time it's closer to the project and it's still not completed, they go from, I need daily updates, to
Yeah.
I need hourly updates. Like, who hourly updates add to the problem? But I've seen it happen. Like, um the paranoia that creeps in.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I
No.
I
No.
did it
No.
just did I
Totally.
just go on a full on
Yeah.
rant.
No, no, and I get what you mean, because as you said, like we as humans have like bias to negativity and not knowing what's happening, and your people are miles away. It's not like you can hop on a plane right now and then go and
Mm,
see what's happening, right? So
yeah,
clients do depend on the updates from us,
they
and
do
us
depend.
as
They do
provide.
depend on
Mhm.
updates. they
And
depend on
us as
updates.
providers, we do need to give them the right amount of update. But what do you think, Francis, is the right amount of update?
Well, let's put it this way. As somebody who has seen monumental monumental
Mm.
fudge ups, like when you see the you see those I mean, there's probably
Mm.
like a million movies made out of, like you make a promise and then you
Mm-hmm.
have no idea how to fulfill that promise.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the deadline approaches, it now becomes like a hilarious series of, oh, it's going to be completed. And then while you're desperately trying to come up with something to patch it up, like,
Yeah.
like a promise to fix the car, build the house,
Mm-hmm.
repair something. There's probably a million scenarios when they, you know yeah, this better be completed in 2 days, or mark my words, right? I mean, I could probably Google it right now. Like, actually, editor, when I do this right now, like, give me a million scenarios of different movies that where that is the basis of the entire comedy. And the reason why it becomes funny is
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to save face, and therefore you give them the assurance, the big assurance that it will be completed on time, while fully knowing that there's no way that you can complete it on time, like, for example. And and that's really where um the problem starts building up. Like, how are you going to fulfill something that you cannot fulfill? Or do you own up to the scenario? Like, how do you judge between owning up and saying, it won't be completed this time, we need a week more, realistically, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because depending on your relationship with the client, especially if it's new, you haven't tested, um by the way, this thing that you wanted, that we kind of talked about,
Mm-hmm.
that we went back and realistically checked the scenario, and it just won't happen, right? Or it can happen, but it's going to happen 2 weeks farther than you think. The relationship changes when you've already worked with this. Like, you know me, you know my work. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because X, Y, and Z, right? And I think the problem is a lot of these relationships are probably new relationships
Mm-hmm.
wherein you either have overpromised, over delivered, or simply because the impression that you gave is like, we are the solution to your problem, and they said, okay, here's our problem, and you get, we can't fix this, or this, we can't fix this in the way that you think. I mean, that's the problem, where you want to go like, I'm amazing within means.
But I do think that like, for example, with clients, like if you have an ongoing project, you do have to have that initial update first, or initial alignment call first regarding the timelines for the project, so that you don't get, and of course, like, under promise over promise. It is kind of a little bit difficult to do that if it's a project that you've never done before, where you're not so sure about the
Yeah.
scope yet, or how long something will take. You know how things usually take more time than we think. Like some
Yes.
projects with, yeah. So, but first, have that alignment call with your client first, and kind of
Yeah.
map out that this might be the timeline. So sometimes when I think about projects, like, right, like, for example, if you give me a deadline for end of the month, let's say end of July, what I would do is I
Yeah.
would go like reverse engineer it, meaning, okay, this means that by this time it needs to be for client approval already, and then this time this part of the project needs to be done this time. And that's how I do my project timelines. I kind of reverse engineer if I have the deadline, that if the client gave the deadline. But in terms of having an alignment call with the client, figure out first if there's a deadline. One, if there's a deadline. If not, then give out a realistic um, timeline, realistic milestones for the project, and have that call with the client, or alignment with the client, of whether do they only want updates during those milestones, or do they want weekly updates? Is it more of a frequency, or is it more of a results based type of update?
Now,
It, go ahead.
you're right, 100% right. A lot of this is alignment and learning where you stand with the
Mm-hmm.
client. You know, and you know what I find, like, sometimes, clients with the biggest budgets don't actually care for updates. Just send me the
So
results.
yes. So, some of them.
No,
So I think it's more of
some,
the format of the update.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and some. The point is, you as a provider can happily live without with a not giving updates, giving
Mm-hmm.
some updates, giving as many updates as necessary. The question is, what do you as a client want? Because if you're the type of client like, oh, just tell me when it's over and done with, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get emails and updates and requests for weekly check-ins,
It's
it
annoying.
becomes tedious for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we had to, and we've had to do that. Like basically, I had we had one of our awesome lovely clients go from weekly
Mm-hmm.
updates to monthly check-ins to, let's just check up if there's something bubbling, and let's set
Mm-hmm.
a meeting for one of the, otherwise I mean, we have a standing once a month call, but if we decide the day before that I don't have updates, I have updates, we'll have the call. We both don't have updates, we don't have the call, right? And that's great because it works for them, but the danger is the complacency of not having updates, because
Mm-hmm.
when you're new, it doesn't matter if you don't have any updates. For me, that you don't have any updates, the important thing is either you know how's your day, blah blah, it's a honeymoon phase of getting to know
Yeah.
the clients, right? Like,
Yeah.
the training is going well. This is is there any, are there any concerns on any shareholders, any other business entities that have concerns with how they are dealing with the team, etc. It doesn't matter. You have to find that out, and until you reach the point where you say, do you want uh, to lessen the frequency of meetings? But the point is alignment first,
Yes.
right?
Alignment first.
But
Alignment.
when do you, so
Go ahead.
oh yeah, yes, no, no,
No,
no,
go
go
ahead.
go go,
No. No, 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 no. You go ahead. No.
and then you go.
No, I was thinking about so I remember way back when I was just a freelancer, and it was like the first year of
Were
freelancing where
TVs in black and white?
no, I'm not that old. Uh, I'm just gonna smile because I'm not that old. But what I was saying was there was this client of mine where I was doing, I think, cold calling. Yeah, I was doing cold calling for the guy, for the client. Um, and because it was my first few contracts as a freelancer, I thought that no communication from the client meant I was just to go, like, just to keep going with whatever I was doing. And then I remember like 3 days after the contract got canceled. And the feedback to me by the client was that I was not giving any updates.
Oh,
Yeah. So it wasn't because I wasn't doing the work. I was actually doing the work. It's just that I didn't give him, like, there we didn't I didn't have that idea yet that I had to ask the client, okay, how often do you want to get updated? I think that we both assumed that each, like, he'll check up on me if he needs to. He assumed that I would update him, right? So that alignment
and
is,
making assumptions.
yes, and make assumptions makes, and right, a few and me.
Mm,
Yeah, so I no, I just remember that because the contract or the partnership could have gotten, like, gone longer if
farther,
only, yeah,
yeah,
farther, if we've only kind of really sat down and set the expectations of how often should I, update him, how often
yeah,
should he
and
monitor
really,
me. Hmm.
yeah, and really, as the provider,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
should have
up to
been
you to,
proactive about it. Yeah.
yeah. And that's why I never ever at this point, like, I am happy to live without any updates. Mark my words, I'm happy to live
That
without
depends. I
any.
mean, if you already trust your team to do the job that they're doing, the relationship
No, no,
is
no.
there, the trust
Wait.
is there, then I think you're fine without any updates.
No, I think, sorry, taking it out of context.
Mm.
What I was about to say. I am
Okay,
happy
sorry.
to live without any. I'm happy to live without any context. And like in my world, in my dream world, everything's amazing. But we all know that there have been many scenarios where if you don't give me an update, I assume that everything is going well.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, That's rarely the case. It happens when when we have to deal with the nightmare scenarios. The client's not happy, blah blah. Then we have to go into the war room and say, "Why didn't you update us?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you should have told us much earlier because we could have done something about it. So would I been happy not getting updates or having to sit through and read through emails about the day-to-day things? No, no, you have to, because you would rather, hindsight will always be 2020,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you just told me earlier, right? Like, and that's why you always say, put the highlights at the top of any email updates. Client wasn't happy about this, or client said that we should focus more on this. Those little telltale signs that seem out of the ordinary are
Mm-hmm.
worth looking into, right? Because again, clients can be finicky. Clients can be very, very stable. Clients can be finicky. Clients can be objective and very, very subjective.
True. It really
And
depends
and
on the
it's
client. Yeah.
yeah,
So, sorry, I have to
it's
give.
like a marriage. It's like, no, you're right. It's like a marriage, right? And you as the you have to be the man and figure it out, right? Like,
Mm,
men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's the it's the proverbial archetype that that women assume that. I'm worried about where this discussion is
yeah, I
going.
know. Please don't, because you're sounding a little. No, that's why I'm not done.
No, excuse me, ally. But you know how it goes, like, for the women, you're supposed to know when I'm feeling feelings. But obviously
Mm,
men are so bad at it. That's why Mars and men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But the truth is, the responsibility of gauging the temperature is with you, the provider.
yeah,
Like,
the
hi,
provider.
are you happy? Right?
True.
Yeah, it's not
You
up to
have
the
to
client to
actually ask those questions.
are you happy?
I'm gonna jump to your point regarding depending on who the client is. You said some clients are objective, some clients are subjective. So if we go into like what does a good update actually look like, it really
Yep,
depends on who your client is. So I
exactly.
used to have a client who's um he's so data driven, and he wants you to get to the point like really quickly. He will not read paragraphs. He will read bullet points but not paragraphs. And so for that client of ours, we absolutely changed our communication style to just bullets and data. We changed our style. But there we did have a client also that's more, he likes data, but he also listens a little bit more on the qualitative side, meaning the anecdotes, the story behind the numbers. He listens through those. And for updates with that kind of client, then yes, it's okay to have paragraphs with that client, or even a call with that client, because they're that's their personality and that's how they prefer to be updated or to be communicated with. I'm trying to figure out what other types of clients we've had where the updates are pretty different. Oh, I think for the corporate ones, those are more like structured, I
Numbers,
would say.
numbers, numbers. Yeah.
Numbers, even the cadence, the frequency, it's all planned out, because most of
Yeah.
the time you're not only dealing with one person in that call, you're dealing with
Yeah.
like teams from, yeah, different.
Yeah. And that's the part where it can be dangerous because there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. But I think to your point,
Hmm.
is it too forward to say, but startups also run on feelings. Like,
Yeah. No,
startups, they run on feelings. So how's the team? Oh, the team was good. The morale is up. They got the swag, and they go, oh,
mhm.
that makes us so happy. I mean,
Oh,
it will run on It
just
will
gonna
run on
say it's
numbers.
not just startups that are like that. It really depends on who you're talking to on the client side.
No,
Because
I.
like even on the
Oh,
corporate, yeah, I have had this conversation where they were more um concerned about the morale of the team rather than the numbers.
then the numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of course, morale, it does, affect some numbers, right? And so that's also important to them. So it really depends on who you're talking. But as far as
Mm.
startups go, I do think, like, there is like this point in a startup journey where it's also like gut
No,
instinct.
no. I think, yeah. I mean, I think the point is, when it's startups, I think the issue is um morale and subjective behaviors. Those are the metrics that are easier to
Mm-hmm.
gauge and measure, because you are building other KPIs. I mean, yes, you can see how many tickets are sold per week, how many, but you don't have, you know, decades worth of historical data to say this is
True.
where we should be standing, which is, might have actually solved the key to that. But like I said, it matters that the team is happy. Like, what do you think we should do? Should we give them swag, or should we
Yeah.
give them a bonus at the end of the month? How do we keep them happy? Because I mean, it's still a key metric. Happy workers are productive workers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's also a metric that a lot of leaders. Hmm, what are we running into? And some leaders are also really good at that, like the cheerleader type of leaders, who are who are happy to say, I stand by you. And really really effective leaders who say, I know how to make my team happy and loyal and productive. But then again, that is neither here nor there. I'm just saying that those are some of the people that we've worked with. People in your neighborhood.
Well, yeah, it's very different, I think. And sometimes as a provider, you also have, because clients, some clients will tell you straight up that they want updates this way, right?
Yeah,
As providers, sometimes we do have templates in regards to what the update is going to be, whether it's what's the current status, percentage of meeting the deadline, or percentage of meeting all of the outputs. We do have those, and in some of our accounts, we do have like end of the day, right, reports and templates like that. And sometimes we do send that out to keep the client like abreast of whatever is happening, and then ask them in a different call. If you've seen our other episodes, we did discuss about having different types of calls with your clients, whether it's a tactical conversation with metrics versus strategy versus just
strategy. Yeah,
talking about the team, the performance, the morale of the team. It's all different types of communication with the client. So with this one, of course, we're proactive. We send them those end of day reports, end of week reports, and if they tell us that it's becoming too much, then or sometimes we'll actually also ask them, and then also ask them what format
yeah,
is the format that we're sending these updates out actually working for
yeah,
them or not.
yeah.
So it
Especially when
really
it starts becoming a full-time job
to
to
just send
create
an
and
update.
manage those. So yeah, to
Yeah.
create and manage those reports. I mean, you know me, between the two of us, you're like, okay, let's send as much data as possible, and then I go, but are they really looking at all of this data? And might as well sit down and say, okay,
Mm.
let's go through this 30-page report that we go through every
Yeah,
month,
yeah,
and let's
yeah. I
just
get. No, no. I feel like what you're like. We also don't want to waste the client's time, right? I
exactly.
because sometimes I'm also this type of person where I'm asking for updates and then I forget to actually check the update, even though it's sent by email. But I like having it in my email because when I do have time, I can check it out. There is something to be said with either having a preference of getting the updates even though you don't reply back right then and there, or within like within the day or so, but having that update to at least look back and see what happened the week before, because sometimes it happens, right, with different companies. Sometimes the person that you're working with on the client side takes a vacation. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're on vacation, you're not going to be sending the same frequency of updates, but that person can still look back to their email and see, okay, this is what happened when I was out. So there is something
Yes.
to be said in sending those out. As far as frequency, if it's too much, I get what you mean by is it a waste of the client's time? Is it also a waste of the provider's time trying to come up with an
Is
update
it a waste for
that no one
everybody's
is
time?
reading? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and more important, no, I will tell you, the way that those reports become. Remember that Little Shop of Horrors thing, like the big
Mm.
plant that goes, "Feed
Oh
me,
yeah.
Seymour."
Yes.
Sometimes,
Oh, I'm
sometimes,
so familiar with
sometimes
that.
it's
Which movie was this? Why do
Little
I know
Shop of
that?
Horrors.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay, the one with the
Yeah.
like thick lips plant. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the one that
There
looks
you go.
like
I know it.
from the Mario thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that point I'm saying is
Mm.
sometimes these reports grow into these these large, overly complicated. When you have these meetings where there are several stakeholders, and then everybody goes, "Can we see a report where it's in pie chart or where it's in
Yeah.
line graphs and bars?" And it's really, every now and again somebody makes a request and say, "Is it possible to look at the and then you go, the key observations or key strengths and weaknesses, and then they just make these little requests and you start just compiling them,
Hmm.
and you assume that it's for everybody, when sometimes even the original requester doesn't really care. It's just maybe that one
At that
time
point, yeah, yeah.
at that point where it became a necessity. Because I mean, honestly, I think I remember there was this one time when, again, reports turn from used to be from an overview slide to five
Mm.
slides to
Oh,
10 to 15 slides to how did we get to 25 slides now? I see value in all of the data, yeah, yes, but to discuss it in a weekly review, I feel like either and then you decide to go like again slide by slide. So does anybody care about this data? Does anybody care about this data? Because I highlight, I think I remember I highlighted, these are the data that I think we should be focusing on. Some of
hmm.
them are good, should pop up every now and again, but I feel like they've stayed, like a bad date. Um, and then when you went through the items, I distinctly remember the one person who requested that one item
Hmm.
that takes up part of the slide, and then do we need this? And then they go, no, no, I don't think we need that. And
So,
and
so
and
I
then
think what
and
you're getting at is at some point, some of these updates, especially if it's getting a little bit more complicated as time goes by,
yes,
is there also needs to be like a cleanup day of, okay, what numbers or what
what?
updates
Yes,
are the most important, that will actually make sure that everything, like you're sat, or at least the client is satisfied regarding the visibility that they have on the project, because it does take time to build updates, even if you have templates, right? Is you still do, it
yes,
does still take time to come up with, not come up, but to write down the updates, to see what happened in the entire day. um so I remember this one time where we were kind of asked to do a daily update, but the daily update was like you had to rerun all of the reports per day
mm.
just to get to give them the update. So yeah, that was a little
Yeah, because the
taxing, to be
numbers are
completely honest.
constantly, yeah, so you're always like in the last 5 minutes. You have
Mm,
the report ready, and then you're going to run the report one more time, and then check for anomalies and
yeah.
things to report on. It has become very taxing. Like, is it important to fight to know this? Yes, but at some point when the resources required to just give you the update, I feel like you sometimes really have to balance that out. But
Mm-hmm.
this is what we're talking about when it comes to bad communication, and um you know and I have seen this, like I said, in many forms,
Mm-hmm.
including when I was working with a friend who was, because it was a designer who apparently, after they found out, um had the reputation of
Mm-hmm.
late
Mm-hmm.
delivering late. And when you say delivering late, you can't really deliver after after the
Yeah.
event.
Yes.
You
After
can't
the
really
actual
deliver,
reason of
of
of the
getting a
project. Yeah,
dress.
yeah.
Yeah, and I remember this went from and because it was ordered like 2 months in advance, like, oh, just update me, and then it would, and usually it involves like sending a picture, right, of this is the dress looks like, or fitting, and then I think the problem came after the last fitting, and then it looked like there were still so many things that needed to be done,
Mm-hmm.
and with a week to go, the relationship suddenly went from haha, how are you, dress is amazing, waiting na,
I,
to how is it, send me an update, send me an update, send me a
mm,
picture, send me a picture. uh I mean, it's great because probably, I mean, it did it sour the relationship probably, but
Yeah.
did it ensure that it happened on time? Yes, because maybe without the constant pressure coming from the client side, who knows what might have happened? Because
Mm-hmm.
obviously, a lot of it was looking like it got finished at the, what do you call that? Like at the penultimate
Yeah.
moments, right, of the
The
delivery.
buzzer
That could be,
beater.
but the buzzer beater. But and like I said, that could become stressful on both sides.
Yeah.
Like, let's not talk about, like, obviously it's a bad provider and a very diligent customer. But even so, to let's bring it back to our to the business scenario. I mean, that was a business. Never mind. Sorry, keep me grounded. No, that when you say, hi, we have a 3-month project that's delivered, right? Is it a hard delivery? For example, launches,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, if it was a company launch, so obviously everything hinges on a very, very specific timeline. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the deliveries for videos, for swag, for event venues, all hinge on that specific date. So
Yes.
nothing,
Need
you know,
can be delivered after that specific date.
nothing can be delivered after. Exactly. Like, you can't really. Everything else is just failure, right?
I
Now
have
there
a
are.
go ahead.
No, 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 no.
No,
Uh,
so I have a question for you. So sometimes with projects, right, or
yes.
even with contracts, ongoing contracts, there are going to be setbacks and challenges. So what do you think? Should you tell your client every setback that you're experiencing? Like, what's your? I don't want to say what's your take because that's a different portion of our podcast. But
I
what do you think about that?
I will say that. Thank you, by the way, for that wonderful question.
I knew it. We're gonna say that. Go ahead.
In an idea, I believe in an ideal scenario. In an ideal scenario, I would have been mature enough to say, hi. Sorry. Let's just say it's going this way. Let's just say that things are going this way. I am a provider
Mm,
and you are a client. And when we talked about this, everything seemed doable, right?
mm-hmm.
But then as time goes by, while we're doing this, did I immediately see that there's a problem? And when you see that there's a problem, you have one of two paths. Like, do I throw more resources on it to be able to deliver, or do you immediately see that this might be a problem? Now, I have, interestingly enough, I have met some people and some providers who, as soon as they saw the problem, it was like, okay, I'm okay, I am seeing something regarding and we won't be able to complete it in time. I suggest you find a different provider. And I was like, wow, didn't even try
Oh
to,
wow.
they didn't even try to,
To
let's see what
troubleshoot
we can
and
do.
kind of
Yeah,
see what they
yeah.
can
and
do.
and it was very interesting. It was very interesting. It was like, either this person saw the first speed bump and said, no, 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 we
Mm.
cannot do it, we cannot do this. um I don't know why I'm doing accent, but
Actually, I don't know either, but okay.
I
You
might
do
have
you.
watched Birdcage. Yeah, I might have watched Birdcage. But it was interesting when I saw that. And
Mm-hmm.
mind you, I have never seen that because we die on the hills that we promise on.
Yes.
But when I saw that, it was interesting because did he see it and say, because maybe if we were doing, if that were me, I would have tried to do better, stayed up longer, blew better,
Yeah.
which I thought was, like I said, interesting. This guy either a quitter, or he simply saw the whole scenario and said, it'll be better to cut this off right
Yeah, to
here,
cut
right
this out.
now.
Maybe it's a
With
profit thing. Like if they spend more time on it or their own resources because that's why
Yeah,
they
or the
called it
return of
quits.
investment is not worth it, which I thought very interesting. And like I said, it's just the kind of eye opener that you've seen over the years. But in my case, so like I said, in my case, the way that I would like to see it is, I would be mature enough to say, I see a roadblock and I will communicate. Like, I see a roadblock that says, either I do A, B, or C in
Mm-hmm.
order to address the block, or set or tell you right, or tell the client right now. If none of these if none of these options seem good to you, maybe it's good for you to consider something. It's
Yeah.
not and you realize it's not about quitting, it's letting the client know early on,
Yes. Because sometimes the client,
before.
maybe the client also has some ideas on what can be done,
e-
right?
exactly, or they might be able to say, if we move the deadline 2 weeks back,
True.
which has happened many
Mm-hmm.
many times. Um and like I said, it's just the wisdom of the ages where you say, no, 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 we cannot do this, uh
Yeah.
oh, come on. Wait,
Yeah.
no, 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 no,
All I hear is
if we,
Gloria.
who?
All I hear is Gloria from Modern Family.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jay, I was supposed to do this, but is it cocktail?
Okay.
But not everybody will do that. Everybody will
Yeah.
have an ego. Everybody will have the yes, we can do attitude,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there's also, it's so you as a provider, you now have to look at this and say, am I balancing keeping the client, profit, just your own, what do you call that? Like,
Sanity.
yeah, there's sanity, and then there's the um, your reputation, for
Yeah,
example,
true.
right? Like there's an interesting balance of because sometimes, when for example, when a client just says, I want to work with you, but can we do it for 10% less, right? And our reactions were always very different when it comes to that. But in terms of the deliverables, I have seen people, work weekends, work
Mm.
more hours, eye bags, strained relationships, divorces, just to get the deadline. But you have to ask, is it really worth it? So let's talk about it this way. Uh, in terms of updates, Penny,
Mm.
do you, as a client, would want more updates, better updates? What kind of an update person are you?
Yeah, yeah. And if even if you can, I mean, if you can comment down below, like what type of updates you prefer. Is it more of a frequency type? Is it more of a structured, like these are the points that you want to hear in an updates? Please comment down below. We'd love your
Yeah,
thoughts about this.
yeah. Update me when there's an update. Otherwise, stay out of my way. But if that were you, what kind of an update person
Yeah.
you're? Yeah, but I guess that I feel like there's a lot more that I want to say. But as
Yeah,
always,
there's a lot more. I think we can still like we can do another one of these. The reason why we have a lot more to say about this is because because our clients are not local, they're outside the Philippines, like they're international,
yes,
different time zones, different like their partnership is, I would say, about 60% updates.
yes,
About
mini updates
yes, about updates. And I
and
think,
morax.
but I think that's
that,
it.
that is
I think we
that is
did
that is
cover a
it.
lot. Yeah.
We did cover that. Yeah, it's up for me to say. That's it. It's another episode of business, and of course, our conversation doesn't end there.
Let's keep the buzz going. Follow Virtua. So business is powered by Virtua, and please do follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Send us your
And,
thoughts and let's talk business.
and remember, you can find us also on YouTube, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and TikTok, so you can listen anytime, anywhere. Did I just brush my mic?
Until next time, keep hustling, keep innovating, and keep making moves. See you
Bye,
on the next episode.
everybody.
Bye.
See you on the next episode. Todd.
Bye.